the gamers that grew up. So I've been thinking lately about, a lot of videos coming out. I've seen some talk about, being cheapskate. Shout out to Solid Rev. That guy's a real YouTuber. Real YouTuber. Very honest. I like that. Was talking about, how he's become the past because of PC gaming or whatever. And then I've seen other people make vids also about, how they're looking for that game that is fun, that used to set it off just like they did when they were a child. And to be honest, this whole next gen experience hasn't been, I think, what a lot of people thought it was going to be. And I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I don't know if it's because, the lackluster games that have been coming out. In our opinion, you have to understand that this has probably been the first generation of video games with the most social media incorporated in it. So you therefore have a lot of propaganda for games, more so than we did last gen. You have a lot more social media. Um, you have a lot more YouTube videos. You have a lot more people talking about games, more so before they even come out. And you have these companies now that can release bits of information and bits of video about games way before the release of a game. So that allows us as a consumer to look at these games and analyze these games and critique these games and talk about these games, and almost to the point where we almost destroy a game's reputation before it even comes out. Um, Classic case of that was Watch Dogs, right? When it first hit the scene, everybody was talking about it. He was talking about it. E3, it was amazing. I saw the video. You saw the video. I'm sure it blew us away. And then after that, a year later, come to find out, a lot of it was on PC, or this stuff was all ran PC wise, and it didn't look anywhere near what they showed us. And then another classic case was with Destiny, right? Not to say that that game is bad by any means. I mean, some people like it, some people don't. I enjoy the game. It's okay. It's not a bad game, but it's not great. I did hear the Taken King is doing really well. But that was another case where a lot of people came out with videos, came out with expectations, talking about the game's going to be amazing. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And the hype train just chugged on along. Chug, 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 chug. This game's going to be great. This game's going to be awesome. This game's going to be wonderful. And it it did really surprise a lot of people. And the reviewers came out with sixes and sevens, and man, everybody was just wigging out on it, and it was unbalanced and all that. So, yeah, I think you've got the social media involved now in gaming, which predicts kind of, I don't want to say predict, but it definitely determines how your game is going to do. Because if there's a lot of hype for your game and it doesn't live up to that hype, your game is not going to do as well as if there was no hype for the game. A lot of Warner Brothers. Now, I want to say this: Ubisoft used to be one of my favorite publishers, but lately they've been releasing games just to fit. In my opinion, I think Ubisoft has just been releasing games, just like I want to say like half, or not half, but more so kind of like it just fits the criteria of what a decent game is. That's what I feel Ubisoft is doing, and they're doing franchises to the point where they're not making games for the gamer. They're making games for the money. And that's the way I feel Ubisoft has become now. They don't really put their heart into the game anymore. I mean, I can't speak for the workers there, because I'm sure the workers, the animators, the riggers, I'm sure they're putting their whole. But I'm talking about the producers, the overall top, heads of Ubisoft. I don't think they're going in with the mindset with gaming, I want to change things, I want to revolutionize things. I don't think that's happening there. I feel it's become more of an EA institution where we just release the same game every year, and we make our quota every year, and we have to keep this going. We got to keep that revenue going. That's what I feel Ubisoft has become. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, has now become, I think, one of my top favorite. I want to say Naughty Dog is my first favorite. Warner Brothers is hitting strong second now, because what they're doing is they're looking at other games and improving on the systems of other games, and I like that. And I can tell they're taking time out with their games. They're hiring people like Avalanche, people that did Mad Max, and they're hiring people like I can't remember the name of the company that did Shadow of Mordor, but they're taking that Batman style and then they're improving upon it in different other games. They're in other games. They're saying, okay, and I understand a lot of people weren't really feeling Mad Max or whatever, but and I have an impressions review coming up about Mad Max, but what I really want to talk about is 6 minutes into the video. I haven't even gotten to the gamers that grew up. I think one of the main things why games this generation is not as impressive as other generations were is because of us. I think we've grown up. I think a lot of us are in another mind frame now. Of course we are, and that's what happens when we grow up. A lot of us grew up playing games, we started off with Nintendo, right? And then what happened is, as Nintendo stayed to where, we were as kids, Sony and Microsoft came in and said, hey, okay, you know what? You don't want to grow up with these gamers. We'll grow up with them. We'll make we'll make the console for these gamers that have grown up, that have gone past puberty, that have gone past, high school, that are into college now. We receive those gamers gladly. Nintendo said, hey, take them, whatever. We'll aim at the casuals. And so now you have us as, your 25 through 37 through 40, that's the age group of the gamer, the main gamer now. And I think that has a big part to play in why this gen has not been as exciting as it was for other gens when we were younger. We're looking for, and I almost want to call this the nostalgia search generation, because even the developers, the companies themselves seem to think that, let's try to recapture and rekindle what you guys felt back when you were 15 or 16, 17. And we kind of jump on board with the remasters, right? Case in point with God of War or the Uncharted collection that's coming out. Even on the Microsoft side of things, we're talking Gears of War, and that sort of thing. And even with the Rare Replay, these companies are saying, hey, let's let the let's let the consumer remember how they were when they were children. And at first, I was like, "Yeah, man, I want to play these remasters. I want to remember the times, or I want to go back and play, these games and reminisce and feel the same kind of passion of gaming that I felt when I played that game first before." But the more and more these remasters come out, and the more the nostalgia type of games that are starting to come out, the more I'm seeing this. The more I'm starting to realize that nostalgia feeling that I had when I first played that game, I don't think I'll ever experience that again. I don't think I'm going to ever experience that again. I'm a family man. I've got a child now. I've got a wife. I've got a family to take care of. And so my thoughts, my ideas, they're a little bit different now. And maybe one of the reasons why games like Mad Max and stuff like that appeal to me more so is because it's a little bit more realistic. It's more of the real world thing. And then You know, not to say that I don't like fantasy games or anything like that, but the the game the game has to relate somewhat to the gamer. You know, a game has to draw something out of the gamer in order for a gamer to enjoy it. And I really believe that we've grown up, you know, and I almost want to say that for those of us that are not feeling like the games that have been released thus far and are saying, man, you know, I don't know, I'm not really feeling, I haven't seen any games. I mean, there's been good games here and there, but there hasn't been that game. You know, to be real with you guys, you know, all of us that have grown up, I don't know if we're ever going to find that. I don't know if we're going to find that this gen. I don't know if we're ever going to find that next gen. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're going to enjoy games. We're going to have fun with our friends online. We're going to enjoy the multiplayer. But that feeling that we had when we were 17, 18, 22, you know, 14, you know, that little area there where we enjoyed our PS2s, our PS3s, our Xboxes, you know, our Genesis, our Super Nintendos. I don't think we're gonna ever get that feeling back. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic and cynical. I'm just being real. And it kind of sucks, you know, but at the end of the day, I think it's simply because we grew up.